Nice try.
Almost got me that time.
Greet the Reaper for me.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
So it wasn't a dream after all.
Did the murderer take him into this room? Or was he already here? Ah, you're up. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, even if I do say so myself. There. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. Why? Because we're at sea, of course, and have been for several days.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits. And if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those Source spells of yours? See what happens. Oh, do go on. I won't hold it against you. Promise. My, aren't we a meek little lamb? Perhaps I needn't have collared you at all, though it does look darling on you. So let's just leave it on, shall we? Because, to answer your question, what the collar does is this. It makes you unable to cast Source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
I'll need to write to headquarters right away.
Good gods! There's been a murder here.
Oh my, these smelling salts are strong stuff.
It seems as though there's a pattern to the blood flow. That can't be natural.
A no doesn't become a yes over time, you know.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us will kill our own.
Here to register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far? Glad to hear it. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
Keep those bubbles trained on her, and if she tries to run, shoot to kill.
You seem on edge, officer. What on earth is the matter?
Murder most foul.
Never thought
Strong
you'd end up
suspect
on
you
prison
know all about it.
That right?
Do you?
I always knew you.
Well, perhaps you're absolutely right.
Your kind always hung close.
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
That means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though, because
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts Source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What's happened?
Not long before this thing snaps into splinters! Damn, that doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards!
You pass through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his forehead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia, muttering to himself.
No. What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist acid. No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the first time.
Oh. Yes? Shouldn't you be running or screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
I know your god did not gift you with much, but kindly use the little you were given. Do you look at me and think, why yes, there is someone with organs enough to drown? Trifling matters like water and poison do not concern me. No, damp robes are the most I have to fear. Once this glorified skiff hits the sea floor, I will simply walk to shore. Whereas you, I believe, have lifeboats to pointlessly squabble over. I believe you did, although I was wearing the face of an elf at the time. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little scene. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands. Indeed. Just as sensible as getting off a sinking ship and leaving a fellow to his business. I would say good day, but it seems quite likely that you're about to die a rather terrible death, so...
The skeleton shrugs casually and returns to his book. The marking on the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what it is, a warning of death fog within. You press your palm against the door to open it. It doesn't budge. The door groans open, but an ashen shadow clouds your mind.
Death fog! I need to get out of here! Now!
chance.
Shut your trap, kid. Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
Thank you! There's a ladder right over there.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear?
I've faced worse.
Let the games begin.
They who are about to triumph. These beardless bugs would sink the ship on my watch. Prepare yourself.
Away! The sea's hungry. We don't have much time.
I hear something. It's Magister Siwan, the one who put on this damn collar. Sounds like she needs help.
She tries to speak, but can only gape as she clutches her neck, trying to stem the bleeding of a gushing wound. With jagged movements, she raises her clenched fist and holds out a length of cloth, soaked with some kind of strong-smelling tincture. Blood quickly soaks through the cloth. Magister Siwan's mouth opens and closes, her eyes wide in terror. It's working. The pressure is stemming the flow of blood. Siwan clutches your arm, her eyes locked with yours. Something within the ship snaps. The floorboards shudder. Siwan struggles to her feet, clinging to you tightly. The ship lets out a deep groan, then cracks.
Ship apart.
This is it! She's going down!
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
Those Voidwoken made short bloody work of the ship. Am I the lone survivor? This must be Fort Joy. This won't be of any use.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you, and his arms snap to his sides.
I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Why? But are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong or crazy. No one cares where I go. They know I can't leave the island. It's nicer out here than inside anyway. They're gone now. The Magisters took them already. I guess now they're cured. And maybe they're waiting for me back at home. But you didn't die. There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see.
Voidwoken. Those are the same beasts that sank our ship. Damn, they've made it to shore. bloody collars were supposed to keep those things at bay. Drowned and eaten by a voidwoken. I wonder in which order.
You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright, blood-red color. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smouldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
I did survive, yes. And chances are I wouldn't have, had you not returned to the aid of your fellow passengers down in that dreadful hold. You have my gratitude.
Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head. More than a nod, though less than a bow.
Yes, I'm sure you've all the makings of a hero and all that, but let's not get carried away, shall we? Now then, if there's nothing further... I'm sure I don't mean to sound condescending, but I had thought it quite self-evident I was gazing out over the waves.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Memories. Quite so.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities. And shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. What do you mean, what do I mean? I mean just what I say. I had a very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity.
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? The very same. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World-Tamer, the spouse of the sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. Truly. A kind offer indeed. And you've already proven to be trustworthy enough. You came back for the others on that ship, after all. Fine. I accept. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer, one of the mystics of my kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my company. Jolly good. So, now that that's settled, first things first. Even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out goes without saying. As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself. But I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic and, yes, even subterfuge. What say you? Very well. Onwards, then, to victory or death.
The Red Prince nods and gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between courtesy and contempt.
Now, as you're aware, you'll be traveling with a prince. Proper forms of address include Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particularly frivolous, Milord. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go. So, without further ado, let us be off. A black cat. A herald of wisdom in my homeland. How fortuitous.
The cat's eyes are clouded and grey, but it stares at you with acute intensity. Its eyes clear, and it shakes its head, confused.
Hey, mister. It's a lot nicer here than that stinking boat, huh? I'm sure glad you went back to save the others. Saw one of them wringing out their tunic at the shore a few hours ago. Say hi for me. 1, 2, long go to the crew. 3, 4, pretty shells on the shore.
The cat's eyes are clouded. It appears.
Quite right. Do seek my counsel. I highly recommend it. There was a small incident which prompted my many rivals to move against me. Technically, they had the letter of the law on their side. Such a nuisance, the law. Quite necessary to keep the common in line, of course, but one such as myself it should exempt as a matter of course. By the rabble and for the rabble. You're one of those, are you? Remember that by the rabble and for the rabble, sorcerers are being exiled to hell pits like these. We'll see if you'll still trumpet the virtues of law when its executors turn to us with malicious intent. I hardly know you as yet. Let's leave some mystery in the relationship, shall we? We can exchange criminal records later. As am I. A prince should die of old age or on the battlefield. Anything else could be construed as weakness of character. That said, I've the distinct feeling I wasn't meant to die today. For despite your heroics, I was still cast into the water. I sank, but there was something in the water. A voice made of air that soothed my flooding lungs. There was sudden light, warmth, life. Truly, how intriguing. To hear a voice whilst drowning is a rather specific delusion to share, is it not? Still, I wonder if...
He hesitates.
Are you a religious person? A pity. Religious persons tend to be all too self-important in their supposed humility. As for myself, I perform the ancient rites of prayer and ceremony with a kind of languid indulgence. After all, when one is revered by many as a living god oneself, public deprecation would be needlessly self-important as well, wouldn't you say? There isn't much to say, but for the fact that I simply must. It's the portent of it all. I can feel it. The revelation will be world-changing. I just know it. And justified it is too. You'll be a witness to wonders, I assure you. As certain as the sun, such is my conviction. I will be, then grow beyond being.
Your godmother has asked you a question. Answer him.
Stay back, sorcerer, and stay silent. Our Godwoken speaks.
We know you've been helping sorcerers escape, Atusa. We have proof.
I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing of any escapees.
If you can tell the Godwoken no more, your tongue is of no use. Cut it out.
This can't be serious, Alexander. Come!
You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask.
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut. Drops of blood form against the dagger's edge and quickly fall to the ground. She groans.
Stop! My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would lie to his only son, your bishop, and your friend these many years. The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. If you will not help us save it, then you will help the Void destroy it. Dallas?
Yes, Your Holiness?
I believe we're done here.
What a waste. Come, we'll be needed elsewhere.
The Lizard Magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of gore.
She was a lizard, yet a magister. No matter her reasons, her penalty was fair.
Where is he? Is he? Where is he? Where is he? Come on, old man. I can't wait all day. He hasn't changed a bit. Always late. is he?
Did you see him? You did, right? Those claws. Wonder what's behind the masks, too. Can't be pretty. That, Magister, that was Bishop Alexander, leader of the Divine Order, and his right hand, Dallas. How do you not know this? Ha! More the fool you. Day is night, and night is day in Fort Joy, O noble one. The Magisters are the royalty around here. You'll learn your true place yet. Now, why don't you move along and settle in? A Magister will come and find you when they're ready for you. Could be a while, though. We're up to our hoods in sinners these days.
Saw 'em, didn't you? The Hammer and Alexander. They gave that scaly traitor what for, they did. Missed quite the scene. The bishop himself with his right hand laid down the law on a traitor among our own ranks. One of the last lizard magisters left. Burst into quite the bloody mess, she did. Bishop's the son of the dead divine. Don't know when we'll get a new one, but Alexander's looking after us in the meantime all the same. And the Hammer's a solid sort. Don't take no guff and don't stand for no idling. Earned that name for a reason, she did.
Did you see them, sir? Bishop Alexander and the Hammer herself, they were so close, almost within arm's reach. A traitor cannot be murdered. A traitor can only receive their due. The Divine Order's all that stands between everything you see and avoid Woken's throat. Any traitor to them is a traitor to us all. Believe it or don't. The Divine Order doesn't need our loyalty. They'll save us in spite of ourselves.
Come on, Dixie. Lay up.
I find I need bread. I want no trouble.
Bread or brisket, toast the same.
Your grift teaches you to bully others. Pathetic.
You keep his name out of your mouth, you filthy cud chewer.
I told him I'd known exactly. Have you, cud?
Disgusting, just like all your kind.
Disgusting like theft? Disgusting like threats?
Grave God, will you quit dragging this on? Tain't that hard, Legsy.
This is not your business, Long Pig.
Don't let this moss muncher talk to you like that. Especially a cheapskate like this one. Griff already knows she don't like to pay her fair share.
An intense-looking man steps between the thug and the elf and rolls up his sleeves, revealing well-muscled and heavily scarred arms.
Just stand aside, won't you, mate? This is no business of yours.
Lone wolves decide their own business.
The thug freezes in fear for a moment before shuffling back to the protection of his crony.
Pay up, elf. No one shorts Griff, especially not one of you. Everyone in camp's got to contribute. For food, for protection, no exceptions. Especially not for elves. Griff's orders.
Food? Protection? I have neither.
Runs the kitchen. Means he runs me, you, and everyone else in camp. You two ought to be thanking your lucky gods it's us, and not the Magisters enforcing round here. A fool never knows what they've got till it's well and gone. Now come on, Elf. If you make me say it again, there's gonna be trouble.
And neither will I.
We got a system, and it looks like you don't want to fit in.
Follow me, before more of them trouble us.
I've an errand to run around here first. I'll catch up with you there later.
Remember, past the kitchens, down to the beach, inside the caves there. There is a safe place.
Amidst a crowd of screws, bolts, and scraps of metal, the woman is manipulating a glove-like contraption fitted with 5 long metal skewers. She doesn't look up as you approach.
And what you after? I ain't. Just seeing how it's made. She's clever, Dallas. Made these herself, for those bodyguards of hers. Boy, they're sharp.
She looks up.
You looking to buy something? Found it in the scrap heap not so long ago. We used to know each other back in the day, you know. Dallas and I. Never knew her to be much of a wrench head back in the day, but once she joined the Order, she started turning out all manner of oddities.
She nods once.
You looking to buy something? Or do you just want to waste my time with a whole lot of questions? For you? Hell no. Worthy is exactly the right word. You know, someone who's proven himself might earn my time of day. Speaking of, you haven't, so buy or shove off. All manner of things. Have a look.
The woman looks up as you approach, wiping her brow with a grease-blackened hand.
What do you need? Huh, the hammer got you curious. Yeah, funny name for a gal like that. When I knew her, the Feather would have been a likelier name. Oh, I don't know. She was a sweet soul, quiet, loved her family. Always seemed strong as I recall, but she didn't come across as no fearless military leader back then. She was just a girl. People do change, don't they?
She nods once.
Clever lass, her. No wonder what Alexander sees in her. Question is, what she sees in him. Who in their right mind would think of a thing like this? Dallas, you maniac. Dallas, you maniac.
So this is...
I know that look well enough. You're about to pop, ain't ya? Why don't you enter a match and let some of that frustration out the right way? Nothing I can tell you you can't find out by slipping down that hatch. If you've got the spit in you, that is.
I ache for battle. You come to fight. You come to prove yourself. You come to be worthy. There can only be one, and you have but one chance.
She scoffs.
To prove you are the one.
Can we get on with this already?
Never mind. The one does not ask such a question. Good. Who aids you? Choose wisely. Whether you fail or succeed, you do not fight more than once.
We will rejoin our comrades.
Hey, you're a little light in your pack, ain't you, mate? Who can blame you with the garbage they got for sale round here? Why don't you take a gander at the goodies I got? Stuff you won't find anywhere else in camp. Procured by special means.
Ain't fit for beasts.
Let's just say folks leave here, but they don't seem to take their effects. Maybe I happen to know where everything ends up. Only the finest, you know.
Worse than war rations, these. Worse than war rations, these. Ain't fit for beasts. Perhaps if those bleeding dwarves didn't eat so much. worse than war rations, these.
If a magister finds this on you, you forget my name, here?
Keep it down, will ya?
Ain't fit for beasts. Ain't fit for beasts.